All right. Hey, Nick. How you going?
Hey, Michael. Lovely to see you here at the start of the podcast.
Just right off the bat, sorry for being late, man.
No, I appreciate
Apologies for that.
your apology, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm sort of used to
All
it.
right. No, that was an olive branch. All right. So I just want to get this right. I just want to get this out of the way because I'm obviously.
You're fuming.
I just
I
want,
get it.
so,
You're
no,
fuming.
no. So this is a 50-minute late start. Now I just want to say a couple of things.
Uh-huh.
I'm very chill. I'm aggressively chill about this.
Yeah. The medication's working.
I didn't have anything to do. I'm not gonna lie to you. As you know, I'm an adaptable, flexible man.
Yeah.
Not physically,
No,
ladies.
or in terms
Calm
of
down,
beliefs
ladies.
or anything. Yeah.
No, I mean rigid in every aspect of my life, other than time wise.
And penis.
And well, yes, that's true. But yeah, I mean, look, I just wanted on the record how it is. It's a late start. I think historically.
Yes, I will. I will cop to 45 minutes. We have been here for 5 minutes now, so it's not a 50-minute late start. There was this track I'm recording on 5 minutes deep, so I will accept 45 minutes late, and that is on me. I was out.
You know what makes a really good apology when someone brings something up and they're, as I said, aggressively chill, and you call out a technicality like a 5-minute technicality.
I know. I'm saying that you're
sound like an
90% of the way towards correct, but
I don't even
45 45 minutes. 45 minutes, I will completely own. That last five, I think, there's some debate to be had there. But look, I agree. I'm actually aggressively chill about it as well. And I'm not going to keep pushing the matter.
I don't know.
So if you want to incorrectly say that we're 50 minutes late, I'm happy to let that roll.
Apology accepted.
Thank you. I was out to dinner, and it was the first time actually that my parents and Casey's mum had ever met. So we were having.
I knew you were gonna play. I knew you were gonna play that card.
We're gonna have a family dinner. So it ran long. What can I say?
What'd you get?
We ended up at a sort of fish restaurant. So there was mussels, there was chowder going around. I had some calamars.
Fish isn't a type of restaurant.
Yes, it is. Pescatarian.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, there's fish and chips. Dad had like
But
a
what
flounder
flavor?
with
What
roast.
spices are we talking?
Anything. Dad had a sort of roasted flounder with like vegetables and things. There was mussels in like a soup broth. You can get like a crusted fish in a coriander kind of crumb.
Is this a type of cuisine? Fish isn't a cuisine.
I think it is. I think you're just so narrow-minded and rigid in your life that you've never once considered that, much as you might go to a steakhouse for a steak, you could go to a fish house for a fish.
That's a good point.
Anyway, I had some gnocchi.
You also have chicken shops as well.
We have chicken shops. Yep. Yeah. That's about
it.
Plenty. I had some gnocchi, and to be honest, I could have eaten them more. I might have misordered. I feel a bit hungry.
What did the pastor say when he couldn't get into the house?
What did he say?
I got no key.
Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. That's the kind of high-quality humour that we aspire to, particularly when leading into an energetic intro segment like this one. This is a podcast in which we discuss the things that matter with two people who don't. Sitting through the internet with me this week, my friend, Michael. Hello.
Yep.
And my name's Nick. Thank you for asking. Lovely to be here.
Mosquitoes.
I'm a little bit sauced. I had an alcoholic ginger beer, and I had 4 pieces of gnocchi, and it's just, the balance there between food and between alcohol is perhaps a little bit, off, a little bit atypical.
I love it. I mean, I'm kind of in a similar boat because as we discussed earlier, I was kind of waiting for a while, and I haven't had dinner yet because it's now it's 7 p.m. So I've just kind of been waiting, having a couple of beers on an empty stomach. So yeah, kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dwell on this at all. Obviously, this isn't important at all. But I did give you a heads up. I was going to be at least half an hour late, which many would argue.
15 minutes. 15 minutes before.
Yeah, and then another half an hour. So that's
yes,
plenty of time. I think you could actually to go and get some food.
No, seriously, I really appreciated that.
That heads up, yeah. It's just funny because time flies when you're really having fun spending time with people that you want to spend time with.
Yeah, I wasn't with anyone. Yeah, but totally get that. Nick, elephant in the room. It's fucking Halloween, my brother.
Thank you so much. Just tell me if this
Yeah.
is your costume or if this is hunger-induced hallucination. But you're dressed as a giant chicken leg, is that correct?
I didn't even get that. It's funny.
Or is it like a hot dog? Yeah. Either way, I'm hungry, and there are people knocking on the door. So happy Halloween to you.
Can I quickly? It is Halloween.
Okay. Sorry. Can I quickly? It is Halloween.
Can I quickly? That was the end.
Okay, great.
Can I quickly? It's Halloween. I've got like a real quick Mikey spooky seance whatever the fuck.
Oh, a seance news?
Real quick.
I'd love a seance news. I haven't played that jingle in forever.
Well, it's kind of a seance
Don't
fun
undercut
facts.
it. It's not a fun fact. I will not allow fun facts.
I'm just saying that because I want you to play all three jingles on top of each other as a jingle sandwich.
I will
please.
not. I will not.
Play the
You have. Can I just say up front, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, but you've become increasingly demanding as a podcast co-host in terms of the amount of jingles and stuff that you want. And I'm staying right at the front. There's no fucking confetti this episode. We're not ending a third podcast in a row with confetti. It was fun twice. I'm not doing a triple jingle sandwich for you just because you got it into your head. This is my fucking domain, okay? And you're going to sit in your lane and you're going to behave.
I think we're in new territory here. I'm just going to push back a little bit. I think we're in new territory because I did actually pay you for a double confetti last week. So I think we've now established it's more of a I don't know, a client. You're my client at this point, Nick.
You really Trojan horse that because I was happy to receive $10 from you. And you said it as funniest for committing to the bit, which I appreciate, but also I could just really use the money. So we have you found a sort of dominant way to wrestle control of this thing. And I'm not entirely happy with it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yes, if you pay me money again, I guess I'll play the jingles that you want, master.
Great. Do me a favor. I'll pay you $10 to shut up right now and play the jingle. Oh no. That cursed time. Seance news.
Satanist. Lucifer. Ouija board. Blood of the innocent. Blood of the innocent. Blood.
And we're back. Okay, so really quick, whatever the jingle Nick used for this was. Why do ghosts wear white sheets?
I don't know. Why do ghosts wear white sheets?
Well, yes, and Nick. So the origin of
you said that up like a joke. It's not a joke.
No, it's an article. It's a news.
You just did a knocky joke in that exact same tone of voice like 3 minutes ago, and it really felt like you had a punchline there.
Note to the editor: edited the last 4 minutes now.
Fuck off.
All right. So I was thinking about what's the origin of this the ghost in the white cloth, right? Like Scooby Doo's, the things, movies, right? So this is why, and I think this is interesting. The root of this imagery of ghosts lies in the fact that up until the 19th century, the dead were almost always wrapped up in burial shrouds rather than placed in coffins. In poorer families, the recently deceased were simply wrapped up in the sheet from their deathbed and secured inside by a knot tied at either end. In the 1300s, ghosts were often presented as skeletons draped in their shrouds. Blah, blah, blah.
That's interesting.
And in the 1400s, people were reporting supernatural phenomena that almost always described apparitions as being clad in their death shrouds. This depiction was by then so widely accepted that an entire subset of English thieves began donning white sheets and pretending to be ghosts. Isn't that wild?
So, sorry, recap that again. At a certain point, it became such a fad that people did it as a like costume at that point.
No, to rob people.
Oh, thieves.
Just
Thieves
thieves.
did it, right.
Yeah, to spook people out.
And then
And
give us your money?
exploiting
Like,
it.
did they say anything, or did they just like drop their valuables and run?
These undead disguises had the dual benefit of hiding the thieves' true appearances, so
Clever.
anonymity,
Yeah.
while also scaring their targets into handing over money. Even after multiple ghost impersonators were exposed by the authorities over many years, the public continued to believe that unhappy spirits roamed the earth clad in their burial shrouds. There's more, but that's all I wanted to... I just thought that was really fun.
I still want to work through that logic there. Just thinking through, okay, so there's a haunted apparition who's appeared in front of me, a burial shroud, and they want my money. How do you make that intellectual leap? Like, is the ghost like sticking out a hand and like pointing to the watch on your wrist, or like are they like tugging at your pockets to get out your Amex? Like, how do you communicate as an apparition what you actually want? Is not say like the revenge for your murder, or to be buried next to your wife. Like, how do you communicate the idea that I wanted £3 and sixpence?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's like you're still gonna hustle after you're dead. The grind never ends, baby. We're always on the rat race.
Capitalism.
There is an example. There's an example here, but I just wanted to keep it brief.
Yeah, let's keep it brief.
Isn't that interesting?
That's a nice little bit of Halloween themed content to get us started. It is going to be slightly unfortunate that we're pre-recording this. I'm going to put it out on Monday, at least 4 days after everyone stopped thinking about it. But for now, I'm really in the mood.
Yeah,
I did get some popping candies for anyone who dares venture up our driveway and knock on the door. But I have to say, we just drove to dinner 6:30ish. A lot more kids on the road, a lot more costumes wandering about than I have ever seen in my life. It really feels like this next generation fully on board.
Same. It's the same. I was thinking the same. That's the only reason I brought it up, really, because there's so many kids out the front.
Yeah.
Halloween is also Christmas for pedophiles, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It is weird. Like, you have to place a whole lot of trust in strangers, right? Both in terms of, here, have some food I've just given to you out of a bag, like, good luck.
Yeah.
People just taking stuff from strangers, literally taking candy from strangers, is admonished as a bad thing to do any other day of the year except for Halloween.
It's real Hansel and Gretel energy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting as well. Like the fact that sugar or candy was like this. I don't think it would be the same for kids now, but like the fact that like sugar was this lure that you could not resist.
Yeah, it's like these days it's a house made of Nintendo Switch or Squishmallows or Bluey figurines or something. Like, what are the kids actually going to wander through the woods towards? Because lollies are not so special anymore.
Yeah, what do kids want these days? I'm asking for a friend. What do they want?
Children. They're the little ones, right? They're like the short guys?
The short people.
Short people.
Yes.
So I think they want rats? Is that one?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I was a kid.
It's been a long time.
I don't even remember.
I think rats are big at the moment.
What did you want seriously as a kid? What did you want the most? What was like 10 years old? What would be crack for you at 10?
I really liked rats. Maybe I'm just projecting.
Always been a big rat guy.
This is a true digression. Our next door neighbors had rats growing up. They had pet rats. And
I think I knew that.
As a first impression, I was like, oh, rats. But apparently mice are the dirty fuckers and rats are actually very clean. So having rats as a pet, like, they actually groom themselves and clean themselves. They don't smell. Mice are the ones that piss and shit everywhere and don't know how to clean themselves. So they're the dirty guys. I mean, plague, etc., notwithstanding. But like, as a pet, rats are very, very clean and tidy.
I hate any type of rodent. I gotta say, rodents and birds, I could not care less for.
What about a capybara? You gotta love a capybee.
I don't love lizards either.
That's not like well, okay, that's not the. That's a different thing.
Oh, I was making a joke, Nick.
You don't like rodents?
No.
Or did you have a bad
What's it-
experience
I
as a
mean-
kid?
I think birds and rodents are the same. Birds are rodents of the sky, and rodents are birds of the ground. And I don't. They're just filthy. They're filthy.
I think
don't
they've
like
said that about
filthy things.
pigeons. I'm not sure that all birds have been lumped into that category before.
I just don't like them. Birds freak me out big time.
To answer your question, what I really wanted when I was 10 years old, I think, was Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
And that paid off because, I mean, that's hours of entertainment. After than that,
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a while there where I wanted like Pokemon cards. There was
Pokemon
also
was
a
big.
big marbles phase.
Yo, dude. Now we're cooking.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking. Hit record. Marbles was huge.
Marbles
I want to
was-
bring marbles back.
Marbles was a genuinely cool thing to have because you could look at them like it's a physical object. It's not just a digital thing. You could have a little sack of them and they actually actually weighed something and you were able to bring them to school and then you could do like little fights for marbles.
It was-
and then they
it was
got
gambling
banned.
kind of
It was
as
kind
well.
of it was like it was
Yeah.
trading at the very least, if not like competitive. And then
It was high stakes.
I still remember that I had like a bunch of sort of generic cat size, all very identical. And then I went to
Oh, yeah,
school
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you could like play for others and trade. And then I got this one, there was this kind of psycho kid and he had a
Yeah.
huge bag of marbles and then he
Yeah.
lost his mind in a competition or something. And he had
He
this,
lost his marbles.
it was right there, and I deliberately avoided it because it felt too trite. But there was like a
I'm
huge
happy
one,
to
like
clean
a big one, right? And
Yeah.
he got really angry, and he'd lost it, and he was forced to like trade it. So one of the teachers, he was forced to trade it, but he didn't want to trade it because he'd lost because it was like a really big marble. And then one of the teachers had forced him to do the trade, and so instead he grabbed it and he hurled it off into the distance and like shattered it. And like it was soon after that, I think that they like banned marbles from the school. But I went and I got the big one, and it was chipped as all hell, but it was still kind of there. And I was like, I would never be able to like buy one of the big ones, but I would take the broken big one and then like expand my collection a little bit. And it was one of like my prized possessions. And then they banned us from bringing marbles.
You're really taking me back with this. I remember the Earth marbles.
Earth marbles,
that
as
was-
in they had like little speckles in it.
They just looked like the Earth, and there was like a sunsetty
Oh,
kind of
I know what
Marsy
you
looking
mean.
one.
Yeah.
No, this is like really unlocking. I love this. I mean, I wonder if two things. I wonder if that will like come back because it's like analog kind of retro-y kind of. It feels like something that could come back for like a few generations down the track.
But
maybe.
here's the thing. Pokemon cards are still a thing to this day, and Pokemon cards are still banned from schools like 25 years straight. Like there's still people who are still not allowed to go to do them at school. So I don't think even if marbles
Why?
became popular,
What's the problem
Because
with
it
them?
just, I guess, engendered fights. Like people would take valuable cards, or they'd get into battles and get upset, or you know, it's just a thing that causes angst, and they don't want that, you know, taking over the school grounds. But I think if marbles got back into fashion, I reckon it would be exactly the same. I don't think schools would let you bring marbles. Oh yeah, small little hard orbs that you could fucking ping at someone at speed. You know, they're not gonna like. There's weapons.
That was the other thing I was going to say. Is that one of the first like really hard lessons that I really remember is me trading. I kind of got manipulated into trading this family friend. He was like kind of 3 years older than me. And he kind of manipulated. He convinced me that I should give him a Charizard card in exchange for something else. And I was like, all right. And then I suddenly like realized it was terrible and started crying. And my dad and his dad were, you know, having a drink or whatever. I told my dad, and his dad, the other kid's dad, was like, give him the card back. And my dad was like, no, this is fair. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Life lessons, early, hard.
Yeah.
And that
But
Charizard
these are
card,
good. That's
remember, we
good
looked it
stuff.
up on the pod one time, like $200.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Any farts.
Any farts.
We've had a big week, haven't we?
We have had a big week, and let me tell you why. We got solar panels installed last week. Wow. That noise, authentic. That was the actual noise that you made.
Yeah, you did. How are they going?
Thank you for asking. It was pretty exciting. Not gonna lie, like getting them installed last week. Fun day, they're up on the roof, they're drilling things in. Everyone's loving Goose. Goose very popular with all the tradies.
With the tradies, yeah.
But I got a bit of a story here, Michael, and I'm looking for some sympathy. I'm looking for some empathy. So I want some symptoms and emph.
We'll see.
So the way that it works here is they install the solar panels, and then on the way out, they turn it off. So that an external inspector can come and check the systems, make sure it's all valid and hooked up right and everything. And then when the validator comes and does their thing, they turn it on and as they leave, and there you go, you've got your solar. So all of the notes, all of the emails, all the correspondence said, they'll come, they'll put all the panels on the roof, and then they'll leave it off. Except they left it on. It looked like our power bills for that day were way lower. We looked at so we got a battery as well as some solar panels. The battery was on, like it looked like it was charging. All of the evidence was they've left this on by mistake. So that was on last Thursday. On the Friday overnight when we were pretty confident that it had been left on, I took some photos. I sent it through to the installers to be like, hey, this is the situation. It looks like, is this on? Can you just confirm if so and like what I should do? But didn't hear anything on the Friday. Then Saturday, Sunday, Monday was a long weekend, so don't hear anything. And then on the Tuesday, finally get a response. Hey, yes, sorry, this has been left on by mistake. Please turn that off and wait for the inspector to come. The inspector was booked for the next day, for Wednesday. So I go to the wall, I now know which buttons to press. I flip it off, it turns off. It's like, great. So yesterday, Wednesday, the inspector turns up, right? Already gets me offside. So he's 30 minutes early with no heads up. 30 minutes early, and he comes up to the door and he triple doorbells back to back. Triple doorbell is absolutely unheard of.
That's psychotic.
Without any pause, without any chance for me to get, I was 3 meters away, right? Having my lunch because I didn't expect him for half an hour. Back to back triple doorbell. I opened the door being like, what is like, has someone just died? Like, what is there has to be some sort of mortal emergency.
It has to be the fire department. And if it's not, this is extremely rude.
So then I see this guy there and I'm like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I'm here for the solar panels. I'm like, oh, he goes, yeah, I'm running early today. It's like, oh, great. Well, thanks for the fucking heads up. So anyway, he comes in, walks in, like I walk him into the garage where this battery is. I'm like, oh, do you want a drink? You're all good. Yeah, do you need anything? No, I'll be good. I'm doing some tests. I'll be out in a bit. So he goes off. He disappears. I go finish my lunch, which I was halfway through. This guy comes back out 20 minutes later, and he's like, well, it's all looking good. I hope you enjoyed your free power last week. I can see you turned it on.
Oh my God.
I can see you turned it on.
Now. Wow.
And I was like, excuse me, the fuck what?
This guy
I did not turn it on. Best. Your guys left it on.
And he was aggression from this guy is
the
wild.
Aggression, the assumption and the accusation out of the gate.
Coupled with the doorbell. Yeah. I mean, amazing.
He was like, my guys would never leave it on. I was like, well, I'm sorry, they fucking did. They fucking left it on. I emailed the office on Friday about it. They never got back to me for 4 days. And then, and he's like, well, I can see you turned it off yesterday. I was like, yeah, I did. Because they finally told me what to do. I'm not going to go fuck around with some electrical box. I've got no idea how it works. I turned it off when they told me how to turn it off. And he goes,
oh my God.
Well, I never got those emails. So
Yeah.
It's like, well,
So it's your
here it
problem.
is, bloody cat at the office. Here it is. Ah, yes, I can see they've left it on my blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, I'll have to look into it. No apology, nothing. I was fuming. I
Dude.
was so like the point blank accusation, and then when presented with the actual story, absolutely unapologetic.
It's so hot. He's coming in so hot. I love it.
Real. I don't use this word very often, but just like real cunt behavior. You're just like, what are you on? Like you don't get to interact with people in the world like this.
Does he have a stake in this company? Like what?
I don't know.
I don't even understand how he gets to that
I don't
point.
know. I don't get it. He just, I don't know. So he was standing there at the door then. We'd had this quite confrontational back and forth where he point blank accused me of like subverting the entire process.
Now, are you giving a little bit of negative energy back because of the
100%. I was not impressed with him whatsoever. And he's standing there at the door and he's patting Goose. I'm like, get the fuck away from my dog. You haven't earned Goose pats. Just leave my house. Like,
yeah.
And it makes no sense. Like, why would I email head office to ask about this situation if I was trying to like get one over them with it doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, I was so angry.
That's wild. That is so. I love this guy. I'm sorry that happened. I love this guy though. It's just
what a character.
Who are these people?
What a character.
Who are these people?
Who are these people? Anyway, so it was a really good experience until that point, and then it'll sort of soured the thing. But anyway, it's working now. We have solar. We're set. But God, what a strange. I was like, that sort of like adrenaline of like confrontation afterwards. I was amped. I know
we got a lot to talk about. I'm just going to add one thing, piggyback on this, just a tiny
Get on my back,
I had a similar, crazy like interaction in like a retail kind of situation. So I got I lost the earbud piece, the cushion thing, whatever that's called, of my Jabra Elite headphones. Mm-hmm. This is a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Then you said just buy AirPods, which I do, and it's the best, which I have bought, and now now I'm an AirPod guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're rocking them right now.
Thanks for that. Like that, seriously, have changed my life. I lost the ear cushion thing, whatever it's called, to my other ones, and it turns out they're just like completely out of stock. They don't sell them anymore, Jabra. So I went on eBay and found there was one Chinese guy
import store thing, yeah,
selling, and this was the title of the product, Jabra Elite ear cushion, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, cool. So I get him a couple of weeks. This is after I get my AirPods, so it's redundant anyway. And I go to, and the Jabra Elite 85s they've got like a oval kind of shape as opposed to a circular shape, and the ones that I got sent were clearly just a circular shape, so they don't fit at all, even though they said. So it cost me $20. I put in for a refund request on eBay, and so then the seller, I write down, these are just, they just don't fit, you sent me the wrong ones. So then the seller writes me a message once I've lodged this request, and it says this, I'll read it out. Hi, we're sorry to hear that we sent you the wrong product. Do you have any friends around you who can use this item? If so, we're willing to offer you 35% as compensation, refund as compensation. 35%.
What the fuck?
To ask my friends if they can use them.
What?
Because it will cost too much on postage to send them back. Looking forward to your reply. And I was like, this is hilarious. So I'm going to match this with a equally stupid response. And I said, hi, I asked all of my friends, and if they have a pair of Jabra Elite 75s, that was the model that they do fit. And unfortunately, they all said they own AirPods now. So sadly, no one around me can use them. I appreciate the offer to reimburse me for a third of the cost of the incorrect item, but maybe you could just send me the correct item. Looking forward to hearing from you, X. Have a nerd back.
Oh, it's so weird that they would even attempt that, because that's just not how consumer law works.
It's just wild to be like, hey, do any of your buddies have this niche
What about
product?
if we give you a third of the money?
It's wild. Yeah.
and zero of the item that you want.
No. Yeah. I have AirPods now. I'm an AirPod guy.
You're an AirPod guy.
They call me AirPod Mike now. They call me.
Do they? Who's that?
Yeah.
Like
all
at the supermarket.
The boys, the footy
At the
team.
footy team. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why you have that vest now as well that says it. AirPod Mike.
Yep. All right.
Well, speaking of sound, we both went to a concert last week, and we have both not talked to each other about it. Thom Yorke came to Christchurch for the Everything tour, went up to Auckland after us, moved over to Melbourne this week. We have pre-warned everyone. This is a deep dive into Thom Yorke and Radiohead, and you have now been re-warned. But Michael, was this the greatest show you've ever seen?
Well, I don't know how you want. Well, look, I went to both nights on a whim.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about you first, and then just do it chronological?
Chronological. So Christchurch, there was one show. It was the first night of the entire tour, and this Everything tour was the first time that Thom had ever done a solo thing like this. So there was no real way to know what to expect. There was no previous gigs. There was no previous set lists. And theoretically, he was playing everything from the solo work through Radiohead, through The Smile, through his Suspiria and soundtracks and everything.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we talked about this on the last step, but like I just assumed in my head it was just going to be him on a piano.
Yeah.
And then it kind of occurred to me, maybe through talking to you, that there's probably going to be like electronics involved. Synths.
And we saw a photo on the day of the rehearsal that was some synths there, so that gave us a bit of a clue.
Yeah.
But honestly, this was probably one of the best concerts I've been to. I have been to a couple of Radioheads. None of them have matched the location. So I was crazy on my ticket refreshing and trying to get my Ticketek stuff. There was a whole site crash. It was 3 hours late from when they said it would go live, so there was this whole ordeal. But in the end, I got 6 rows from the stage. I was row F. Now, I was dead fucking center.
Is it open air? Is it indoor?
Enclosed arena?
Arena. Okay.
So
what's the capacity?
Oh, I reckon. Well, I don't know how many tickets they sold. I'll Google it off the pod, but I'd guess Wolfbrook Arena is like 12,000, maybe. Okay,
so similar. Yep. Sorry,
I don't think that was how much was at the show, because I think they would have cut it in half. So apparently it has 6,700 seats for sporting fixtures, or 7,000 for 7,000 for concerts. So there was probably 7,000 people there, would be my guess.
Okay.
But we were dead center on the floor. It was seated right in the middle. Kind of terrible chairs physically. I was sort of like scrunched up because they were so narrow. But never been closer to Thom in my life. Never had a better view of everything that was going on. Dad had come over for the show, and he flipped when he saw where we were. And then we settled in for, a concert unknown, effectively. And were rattled off with probably one of the best set lists that I could have hoped for. Have you looked up the Christchurch set list?
I did after the fact. I'm just going to give it another thing now.
Because I can rattle through it now.
Was it like. Wolfbrook?
Correct, Wolfbrook Arena.
Okay,
but I can work through this now.
Yeah, I've got it up.
So, as we discussed, unclear whether or not it was going to be just guitars or whether it was going to be, piano or whatever, and how much of a mix of everything it was. But it was, in the end, a kind of like maximalist, huge soundscapey, like wall of sound kind of vibe, interspersed with really sort of intimate solo guitar songs and the odd piano piece with a bit of looping. But he really, like, the impression that I had and that multiple people actually said after the fact was he was like a mad scientist. He had his little sort of circle of machinery, and he would go around from like station to station concocting little, potions and twiddling with wires and things. He looked like fucking Frankenstein. And somehow managed to fill an entire arena by himself. But yeah, like in terms of just to rattle off songs, we got Suspirium, we got Bloom as like a solo looping version. Got a brand new song, never before played anywhere else. No, brand new title, Back in the Game. Never before played, never before heard, brand new song, which was unbelievable.
I apparently played that, yeah.
Rabbit in Your Headlights, which had me cackling because the moment that he sang like Christian Suburbanite, I was like, oh fuck, I hope this happens to Michael because he will lose his mind.
Yeah, it did on the second night, and it's funny you say that because my friend Elise, who wasn't sitting with us, she, because I think I had that as my Instagram moniker, and maybe was considering it as like a music-y thing, and she messaged me during that. She was like, "How did I never know that you fucking plagiarized this?"
Of course. A live debut of Volk, followed by, which was fucking crazy. Like, I've never seen a more befuddled like combination of like 50-plus-year-old white men sitting there politely as a guy just makes screeching noises for 7 minutes. And then straight into Daydreaming. We got a Dawn chorus. We got Hearing Damage live, which I could not believe that one had me pumping. Bodies Laughing live, which was really good. Cymbal Rush. And then the second encore was Karma Police, and it was an entire stadium on its feet sing-along. It was unbelievable. And throughout all of it, he just seemed really happy, really comfortable, really appreciative, like lots of bows, lots of cheers. He was just amazing.
He was reverent. He was grateful.
He was so grateful. Yeah.
I mean, I saw this. I'm sure you're on the same kind of scanning the Reddit kind of sub things, whatever they're called. There was one post that said, why is Thom doing this in Australia? Like, it is kind of a good question, but I guess like he hasn't been here in 10, 12 years, whatever. And it's just like, what? Like, it's kind of a weird thing to do kind of randomly as well. Yeah. He's not even promoting anything. I mean, I guess he got cutouts, but he played only in the 2 nights that I saw him, he played the Smile song.
Did he play Bodies or did he play something else?
He played... Actually, I don't even know if he did. No, I'm not sure.
Like, I think we got one... We got one Amok song. We got one Suspiria. We didn't get any Confidenza. We definitely got stuff from each of the solo albums, and then a scattering of like weird B-side. Like fucking Rabbit in Your Headlights is such a weird, deep pull.
It's not even his song. That's the weird thing about that. I was super surprised, but very grateful for that. Like, I didn't expect that, and it was so beautiful. And well, maybe let's do it like this, Nick, because I'll just...
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
So the other thing, the one... So the end of the first thing, before the encore, the last song he played, was Body Snatchers. And the moment that he started, I cackled, because if you remember on the last podcast, we were talking about this, like, what are we going to play? And you were like, how do you fucking play Body Snatchers? And then he pulls out a guitar and he single-handedly just solo guitars Body Snatchers. I was like, well, I guess that's how you fucking do it. You just do... Yeah. You're just talented enough to make that song work acoustically.
Yeah, well, I was still thinking, I think when I said that it was going to be a strictly piano...
Yeah,
acoustic.
For sure. But I just, I was like, wow, I can't believe that this has actually happened.
It looks like your Christchurch set list was like pretty similar to the second night at Melbourne. But I'll just give you a quick summary of my 2 nights and just the drama that ensued, and then maybe we can get into the weeds a little bit.
Yeah.
Or the reeds.
Hey.
little Tom Yorke joke.
Yeah.
All I need.
I followed.
Yeah. So I had booked tickets like when you did for the second night, the Wednesday, and was going with Lauren and her work friend, who's a lovely guy called Jay Hutton, and wasn't planning to go to the first night on the Tuesday. And then my friend Seb was coming over. Who you know, Seb?
I know him very well.
Seb Vivian? Oh, you do? Yeah. And I just got it in my head on Tuesday that I just got swept up with this kind of wind of like, why aren't I going to both nights? Like, it doesn't, why wouldn't I do that? And so I just bought a ticket at 11 a.m. and I was like, yeah, all right. And Seb takes a while to text back. He's not a great texter. And I just assumed that he would be on the grass, the lawn at the Sydney Maya Bowl. And I said, hey, surprise, I bought a ticket. And he said 6 hours later, oh, we're not there. We're in a completely different section. And I was like, fuck. So I went by myself.
Oh.
And the problem is with the Sydney Maya Bowl is I've really hated it as a venue previously. I've seen Arcade Fire there. I've seen Karangman. Never liked it. It's kind of like an open air kind of stadium, arena-y kind of thing. Yeah. And they have there's seats up the front, which are quite good, but they cost a hell of a lot more than the general admission, which is quite a ways back. Yeah. And so I'm standing up and it was good. Like I was very happy.
So sorry, say that again. You were standing on the grass at the back.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
weird.
It's a whole other thing because it's confusing whether I've been there sitting and I've been there I don't know. So I was standing there and I was there. I went into the venue with Seb and my friend Irfan as well. Everyone was seated though, so I had to peel off and go find a spot. But I was actually kind of I was embracing the fact that I could have like an insular experience for the first time, and it also gives me the ability to move around because I'm not like kind of
pinned down,
anchored to think. And it was good. There was one thing. So there was one thing. So as you said, it was like there were moments where they were it was very, you could hear nothing else other than Thom Yorke. And there's 12,000 people at this venue, which is just an astounding feat in itself for a musician to truly silence a crowd. And I would expected that the Thom Yorke crowd would be
reverent,
ultra reverent. Yeah. And I was kind of moving around in between songs and trying to find like the perfect spot. And I ended up in one spot, and there was a group of kind of bro-y kind of guys who, not like frat boy kind of bro-y, but like 40, 45. They look like they didn't have families. I'll say that. But if that's a look, but they were rowdy, and there was one guy in particular that was just he was flailing about like with it physically, and he was and just screaming shit out nonsense. And this guy went on, did this for like 20 minutes. I kid you not, like so loud. I moved away partly, but then he was just like this during Pyramid Song.
Yeah, wow.
Which was really quiet. Like I couldn't handle it. So I tried to move away from him, but I also just really wanted to focus on this thing. So I didn't want to move around too much, but he was ruining and there were other people that were moving away from this guy as well. And so Thom finished Pyramid Song, and that's like one of my songs.
Yeah.
And I was so consumed with just like hatred. This guy ruined a moment that I wanted, that was so special to me.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, so his friends kind of looked like they weren't as rowdy, but they weren't doing anything about it, which I thought was strange, even though it was so obvious, right? It was beyond just being slightly annoyed. It was like stark.
Yeah.
There's subreddits about this as well.
Wait,
So
other
I
people
got it-
posted about this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So I at one point, so plays the next song. I got it in my head. I was like, all right, I'm gonna say something to his friend. I'm gonna do it in a really I'm gonna really try and negotiate. And I worked out like a quick script in my head. I was like, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say, you guys look like you're really nice guys, and I don't want to ever tell anyone how to experience art, music, but I have spoken to several strangers that are moving away from your friends. So, is there any chance that you can
Try and
just
get him
like
to calm down a bit.
shape him up?
Yeah.
Like just trying to be nice. By the way, that was a lie. They didn't look really like nice guys. So I'm like I'm gonna do this. So I go over to their friend. And by the way, before this time, I'm like kind of looking over like at this one particular fella with like daggers and stuff, and we've locked eyes a few times. So anyway, I go up to his friend eventually, and I start to give him the script, and I say, "You guys look like nice guys." And immediately, this
Other guy, the
troublemaker,
rabble-rouser. Yeah.
he just picks up on what's going on. He knows what I'm doing, and I get the immediate sense from his friends that they are not going to receive this in a manner that's
Constructive.
going to be constructive at all. And they're like, oh, and I can feel them winding up to be like, this fucking guy. And then the guy starts to come down, and I look in this guy's eye, and he is on so many drugs. Like I could, I was like, fuck, I need to get out of here. And even as I'm walking away,
Yeah.
I can't even really hear what they're saying, but
It's jeering. Yeah.
They're like, okay, like big man or whatever. So that just completely didn't work. So I just completely moved on to the other side.
God.
Didn't get any. I thought I would have got a hey, nice work for trying from some other.
Well,
cowards.
let me, Michael. Nice work for trying, because it does take someone, to intervene, and it was a noble goal, and you were outnumbered.
I wouldn't do it in any other situation other than this
At a
very
concert.
particular situation.
Yeah.
Well, Thom Yorke, I wouldn't do it at something else. Like this
Yeah, yeah.
is so important to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was that. It was a great set list, but the second night we were seated and we were row X, and I like you was on the buzzer when the tickets came out, and I
Yeah.
still ended up with row X in the source, but it was front and center.
Yeah.
And not only that, row X was the last row, so we could hop out and go get some beers or go to the toilet.
yeah.
And we're also kind of right in front of the mixing desk.
Oh yeah.
And we could see we could see on the facial expressions of the techies
Yeah.
what was going, like the communication, which I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
was a nice little fun thing as well.
Yeah.
And this set was just unbelievable. Yeah, I think we went through some of the same songs, but How to Disappear
Yeah.
Completely
Yeah.
for me has been like the song.
Yeah.
And he played it, and I didn't expect him to play it, and I mean he played it, Nick, so perfectly.
Yeah.
Like I was properly sobbing. I was like shaking and sobbing, not
Yeah.
just like crying in a movie.
Yeah, like-
I was like convulsing, dude.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was beautiful. I'm like choking up, I think, now.
Yeah.
It was so fucking beautiful. Oh man, I'm really fucking crying right now.
It was great. We had How to
It's-
Disappear as well, so I know exactly what you're talking about. It was
Yeah, fuck.
one of those songs, and it was also delivered so well that you can't help but just feel it in the moment. And I think that's one of those songs where the entire crowd is exactly the same, and where everyone is quiet, right? Like
Yeah.
no one would have been talking through that.
Yeah, and it's also not it's not like they've got a few of those like real build up emotional kind of juggernauts, but How to Disappear is not a song that is it's not a hit. And it's very, I think it's very special to me. I mean, just and just like also knowing that it's the Michael Stipe REM backstory to that as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're ultra nerds, but I like that. All of that stuff just like makes it so the emotionality of it so intense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so fucking beautiful.
How deep into that set was How to Disappear?
That was 16.
Yeah, so quite a way in then. Yeah.
Yeah, when did you get that? Oh, you got eight.
Pretty early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was by that
Do you reckon
point.
that matters? The
I
tonality
think,
of the show.
I think for
overall,
me,
maybe.
it was the other way where, so in that first, like, maybe half hour, we had Weird Fishes to open with, which is a wild opener. Packed Like Sardines, which is kind of a crazy, left turn.
That's the only song that he's played at every single show.
Interesting. And he's never played
Yeah.
it, I think, live like that before.
Yeah.
By 6, we got Bloom, and I was like, oh, fuck. And then by 8, we got How to Disappear Completely, and I was like, okay, I guess this is just the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, the set list from the first night on Melbourne was so. It was not the array. We're talking the Eraser. Let Down was number 2. Then there's like Last I Heard, Packed, Flake Plastic Trees. It was kind of there was a lot of. It wasn't for everyone.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing of this as well, is that we had a couple of... So after Volk, which, again, 7 minutes of, like, evil red worms on screen and screeching mechanic, discordance, some guy, I think, yelled out, like, play a song! And he was like, that's what I thought I was fucking doing. But then he also joked, he was like... That was an interlude, so you could all like take a piss and get a beer. I think he was self-aware about it, but he was also, I guess, trying because he had no idea like what kind of audience had shown up, and he has to know that most of the people that are showing up there are Radiohead fans, right? And if you're solely a Radiohead fan who maybe like listened to, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, and then fell off when they started to get all electronic, this was not a concert for you. He played maybe like 5 Radiohead songs tops.
Yeah,
if you're lucky. And everything else completely off, base, completely not rock songs.
Yeah, it sounds like he had a bit of. I don't know, maybe this is his shtick, but it sounds like he had a bit of attitude because even in the first show, third song in, I think it was Last I Heard, some guy in the seats up the front went up to get a beer. People were sitting at this point, got up to get a beer, and he stopped the song and he said, "Where the fuck are you going?" And then he started the song again, and this poor guy was like, "I just want a fucking beer with my friends."
That's funny. That was the second night.
No, that was the first night.
Oh, the first night.
But then let's talk about this. The second night.
Wow.
Now this has become a news story.
Yeah.
Second, so he plays the encore, plays 2 songs, and then in between second and third final song, encore, some guy, I couldn't really hear what he was saying, but some guy started just yelling out something, ranting, and it was sustained. It went on for like 2 minutes. And then Thom, Yorke, everyone started booing this guy. No one could hear what he was saying where we were, even though we were like... where we were, and then we heard Thom Yorke say, "Why don't you come up here and say that to my face, you coward?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then he's like, "Well, are you going to, you want to just come here and piss on everyone's night, do you?" And this guy keeps ranting. And then Thom goes, "All right, I guess you do. Good night then." And takes off his guitar and leaves the stage. And everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And it's probably 10 minutes where we're just like, and this is where the mixing desk position that we were in was helpful because I know that they're getting communications on their headset and they are looking as confused as everyone else.
Yeah.
And then after 10 minutes, he comes back and plays Karma Police, which just felt like the most insane. It felt like a choice. But apparently it wasn't. Apparently
that's
it was
what
on the set
That's
list.
what I said. That was the final. For us as well.
Yeah, and turns out the guy was ranting about Palestine, which I guess I've kind of vaguely been aware of, but it's been an accusation that's been thrown at Radiohead a bit over the years because they have, well, I get this is my.
They played in
I guess,
Israel, right? They played in 2017 or something.
I did a bit of a deep dive on this to figure it out. And by the way, the Reddit was what I expected Reddit to be just like scathing of this heckler, and it was a little bit of that, but also surprisingly sympathetic. And I think it is. They played in Israel. They are. This is my summary. They played in Israel. They have been political on other issues, but are silent on this issue, and people want them to be vocal on it or make a statement. And also that Johnny Greenwood's wife is Israeli and has been apparently supportive of the IDF.
Yeah. I mean, also, the band isn't fucking active. They haven't done anything in a decade. So, like, what use is Radiohead coming out now when they're not even out there? I don't know. It's a weird choice.
It's super weird. It just, to me, it's just, like, narcissistic to do it. I just don't.
But, like, what are you going to achieve? Like, how is that going to resolve anything?
Well, I guess it's like throwing fucking whatever slime at the Mona Lisa or whatever. Like, it's like this is how protesters are just so annoying. Like, I don't like if you're going to protest, like, be like creative and do something. Maybe that's the point, I guess. But I don't know. You just like make people hate you more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the weird side of it, right? Protesting, if you are, like, camping out in front of Parliament House or, blocking up a street or whatever. Like, I get it.
Hunger strike.
What
happened to the old-fashioned hunger strike?
But if the goal is to convince people of your message, then surely you need to be self-aware enough to recognize whether the delivery method is going to actually just make people instantly against you. Like,
where's the strategy?
It's political marketing, right? And if you're not doing it right, then yes, I think there's probably room if there is. I guess might be hypocritical here, but I think when it comes to stuff like climate change, maybe I have a little bit more sympathy to that kind of thing because it does seem like any other processes towards protests, trying to get progress on climate change doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. So maybe you do need to block traffic or whatever. But it does seem like the people affected are normal people, not decision makers. So what's going to be achieved?
Well, that's the thing. I think like part of the confusing thing to me about this is that like there's kind of like a silence is violence kind of accusation being thrown. And it's like, well, you haven't said anything about this. And I just find that a baffling thing to kind of try and label someone who's famous or has notoriety. Like yes, it is tragic what is going on there, but there's also like so many things going on that you could choose from to speak out about. And just because someone isn't speaking out about the thing that you're saying doesn't make them like evil. Like,
or doesn't even mean they disagree with you. It just might mean they haven't said anything. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find.
It's not like they're politicians.
No, you'd be hard pressed really to find a more pro-Palestinian audience than Melbourne. It's going to be generally people, I think, sympathetic towards your cause. But then why go out there and then ruin people's night in an unrelated manner? It's not like he was there to speak on Israel and he's like at a debate or something. Like, he's just putting music out.
I know. Apparently the guy that was he got escorted by security pretty promptly, and apparently he was out the front just kind of waiting for people to recognize him from the disruption and talk about the matter as well. God. It screams narcissism to me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
So both of your nights were interrupted in some form by like hecklers and interruptions.
They were, but honestly, it just makes for a good show. It makes it interesting. I was going to say this before. We'll go away from Israel, unless you want to stick on it for a little bit more. I felt this overwhelming sense from Thom of he was so inspiring that the fact that he's 52, I don't even know. He is so free and in his art, and he's doing like he's made a kind of a catchphrase, for lack of a better word, out of his kind of dancing. Like, no one thinks he's a good dancer, but he's dancing in the truest way he could do it.
Yeah,
like,
confidence.
He's feeling it. And he's such an artist, and he's also not even hitting every note. He's not a perfect musician in any sense, really. But it's the imperfection from him that is so appealing and so. I was going to say relatable. It's not relatable. It is appealing.
It's human, right? It's not a god.
Yes. Well,
yeah, he's 56 as well.
56, man.
But I was watching. With a little bit of interest, like subconsciously, I guess, where his voice was at. Because I remember in the Moonshaped Pool Tour era, or maybe King of Limbs, maybe it was King of Limbs, when we saw him, his voice was in a pretty rough patch, and particularly hitting some of the falsetto and stuff, he was really not great. Like he was good, but he was definitely working through some voice stuff. And I think
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
These days, I think there are a few lines where his voice is just sunk, that he can't get to those high pitches really. So he picks a lower harmony for ease. But I was watching in this show to see how it was, and it was great. Like he sounded from song one completely on pitch and completely comfortable. There was no sort of croakiness, raspiness, any of that. He seems in good health.
He sound well. I actually used raspy to describe him yesterday, but as a compliment, because I did think he does have. Yeah, I can hear his age changing his voice ever so slightly, and I think it's sounding better.
Yeah,
it's sounding. It's
got a graveliness, I guess.
Yeah. He sounded incredible.
I do have to say that in terms of our experience on that night, the very first show, very first arena, very first time, there were a couple of like mixing things where it was quite hard to hear his voice in the soundscape. Like this we were so close, and the big electronic sort of maximalist stuff was so loud and all consuming, like truly like shake the chest heavy kind of stuff. Like,
you told me to wear headphones. Or
I'd bring earplugs. Maybe that was just because of how close we were, but like talk about hearing damage. But the
hilarious.
The mix of the vocals sometimes wasn't always quite there. It was a bit hard to sort of pick his voice out from the middle of it. And then Dad actually did exactly what you did. He was in New Zealand and he was going to Auckland, and he was like, wait, why the fuck am I not going to Thom Yorke again? So he bought tickets to the second show in Auckland as well, and said that the mix there had improved quite a bit when he went there. And that's a different location, but I assume as the tour goes on, they've worked out, how it's all going. But my understanding is that the sound engineer, Sam Potts Betts or whatever, the guy who did the Smile, is actually on tour off stage, twiddling things as like a roadie with him, so that they seem to have a pretty good close relationship there. I'm guessing that they worked on that mix over the subsequent days.
The other thing was the visuals. They weren't conventional, just blowing up on the screen. They were. I was fascinated by the visuals. I loved it.
Yeah, it reminded there was that laser recorded video they did of House of Cards in Rainbow's era, where they recorded something using lasers and shot that music video that was all like stripy, zigzaggy.
Oh my!
Facial stuff. And
the sessions.
They must have an incredible bit of AV kit, because they're doing they're piping live camera footage of him singing through some sort of processing filters to spit it out as like weird bits and sort of reminiscent shapes of a face, but not really, just like live video, and painting this whole tapestry of like strobe lights and lasers and imagery. It was hypnotic.
It was amazing. Let me ask you this. So I did feel at some points, maybe because on the first night I couldn't actually see the gear that he was using and what he was doing with it. But how did you feel? There were certainly moments where he wasn't really doing anything, pressing any buttons or, twiddling anything. I did kind of feel that there were some moments for me that I felt like it was a bit karaoke,
like a DJ set almost.
Yeah, I know that there has to be some sort of backing track. I think he's deconstructed a lot of his songs. A lot of it is loops. It's on kind of what are they called, sequences and stuff. So that's fine. But I didn't like being aware of the fact that there was a track, like a full track running in the background. It kind of did take me out of it a little bit.
It's interesting. Like, I noticed it too. Like something like Black Swan, he basically pressed a button like boop, and then it was off, and then he started just playing guitar along it, and so what you get is a live vocal and a live guitar on top of a backing track, effectively.
Yeah, karaoke.
And that's more than karaoke, but it is at the same time
Guitar Hero.
it's kind of Guitar Hero. But then there was plenty of like evidence of his solo stuff, like when he sat down at the piano to play those fucking Dawn chorus, which was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Better than the album, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, which is a hard thing to do. But when he actually, funnily enough, in Dawn chorus, he fumbled a note. He got a chord wrong at one point, and he like just giggled to himself and paused and then picked it up again. And I was like, okay, he's human. He's good.
Oh my God. I'm just remembering this. In Dawn chorus last night, he started playing it on the piano, and then he said, "Oh shit." And then he said, "You won't know that this isn't here, but I'm going to know." And then he went over to the synth and played just like this kind of ambienty thing.
Yeah.
Like under track.
Yeah.
And he was like, and then he went back to the piano with that playing, and he said, much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
I mean, there's a lot of juggling. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, he played for over 2.25 hours by himself.
Yeah. Which
is a big set. Like, they honestly got to the point I was like, is he ever going to stop? Like, we got 24 songs. Like, that's more than they played at, like, a Radiohead concert. And they were sharing the load.
Yeah.
To circle back to your thing, yes, the fact that some of it was like quote unquote karaoke, where he had a backing track and he would just do a little bit of dubbing, and then other ones are just him solo with an instrument or acoustic, or something like Volk, where he was very clearly futzing with stuff all the way through. I noticed it, but I think genuinely it's a stamina thing. I think there is an argument to be made that he could use loop pedals and layer up all that kind of stuff, but there's probably gear limitations where it's like, how much shit do you want to bring? And then stamina stuff where if you're playing 24 songs and you have to layer everything up, every part of that song to get going every single time, you won't get 24 songs. You won't get ones where you can just stand and dance and sing if you have to do everything for all of it. So I think some of it, he's like, well, this one I'll just do to a track and then I can stand there for a bit and do my bass. And other ones I'll do all of it because it works better that way. So I didn't mind it.
That was one of the arguments on that Reddit thread that was saying, why is he doing this tour? It was like, well, why wouldn't you do it? He hasn't been here in 12 years. It's a slam dunk. He gets to come by himself. It doesn't cost as much as it would to bring the band and the visuals and the thing and that and the crew. Like it's and he gets to just do whatever the fuck he wants, and people will just eat that shit up. Yeah. And this is, I mean, part of the reason also that I bought the ticket in, confidently, the second
one, yeah,
was that I knew that he wouldn't play the same set.
Yeah.
And he would, because he'd get bored.
Yeah.
And he basically, I think there were 4 songs out of 22 that he played the same. I got an entirely
Wow.
different set, dude.
Wow.
It was so good.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the catalog, right? Like we were just talking the other day that he's released more solo or the same number of solo project albums as he has Radiohead albums, right? Like 3 The Smile, 3 solos, 2 soundtracks, and a mark, you know. Prolific.
He's getting increasingly exponentially prolific.
Yeah, in the past like 18 months, wildly.
I mean, well, actually, he did do an interview for, I think, ABC for this tour the other day, and they were bringing up his prolificus prophecy.
Yeah, they brought up his prophecy. You will be the chosen one who returns to save us from our sins.
Well, they said you're incredibly prolific, and I didn't know this, that apparently cutouts and of the smile, cutouts and wall of eyes were a kind of a kid A amnesiac situation where they just recorded it all in the same and separated it.
Yeah.
So he said it looks like we're prolific, but we're not. But you are.
Yeah, we released 2 albums, but they were from the same time. So all that means is we had 16 songs at the time, you know.
Yeah. Do you reckon there's another Radiohead album on the way? Do you reckon they're done? I can't help but think that they're done.
I don't know. I think I swung back the other way because knowing that they got back together to play the songs again, I mean, that's, I don't know. I was at the point where it's like, I think it's done, but yeah, who knows? The fact that he said very explicitly, like, thank you to all the people that, you know, aren't here tonight and that made this happen.
It was really sweet.
I feel like he has a lot of love for them still, so I don't know.
Yeah. Did you buy any merch?
I got the tee. I got a blue tee.
$70 for nothing.
Well,
for a cotton on t-shirt.
But that's how they make their money, you know.
Did yours say cotton on the tag?
I didn't look. I don't think so. You might have just gone to cotton on. I got one last question before we can move this on and spare the listeners. But biggest miss of the night, like which song did you not get that you would have loved to hear?
We're so cute. I was literally gonna ask you that, dude. We're so cute.
Suck it.
Well, True Love Waits.
Waits.
It seems so obvious.
I mean, that's interesting. Has he even played that on? Have you watched the set list to know if he played it in Auckland or anything?
No, I didn't look at any.
I know, but subsequently, like, do we know if he's played it or is he just not?
No, but originally it was
a solo guitar, yeah. But I'm just wondering on this tour has it happened? Yeah.
And it has such a legend or mystique behind it. I just thought it would just he'd end with it. That's a closer to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I was surprised by that. What about you?
I think the most underrated song is Truth Ray. I would have fucking loved a Truth Ray.
I got a Truth Ray.
You got a Truth Ray?
Oh,
Fuck you. I would have liked an All I Need, but I don't know how that works. But it could have worked really well.
I got 2 All I Needs.
You got 2?
Yeah,
both
and
nights.
Also different versions. Honestly, they're different.
The balloons. Yeah.
Well done.
Well done.
First time.
You got 2 different versions. What does that mean?
I don't know if that's true, but it sounded very different to me.
Right.
Like the arrangement sounded different and the sounds did.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played that twice.
Wow. On the same, like back to back. I really like that. Let's do it again.
Yeah. From the top.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe a Harrow Down Hill would have been cool.
Ooh, love me some Harrow Downhill.
I think I would have liked
much,
maybe one other Suspirium song, like maybe
yeah,
like we got Suspirium, but what's the one in the middle? Eyes Open. Oh.
I don't give a fuck about that. I don't know what that. I don't even know what Volk is, to be honest.
You haven't listened to Suspirium?
I listened to Unmade and
Unmade. I would have loved Unmade. That's the one I'm trying to think of.
I got an Unmade.
Fuck
Sorry to
you.
say. Yeah.
Well, which of my lists are you jealous of?
I think I got most of the. Sail to the Moon, by the way, was.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly, Nick, I got everything I wanted, I think.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my purchase.
Yeah, so was I. Anyway, we warned you. There it is. Now it looks like a 50-minute deep dive chat about our experience going to Thom Yorke, but it deserved it. And if this podcast is nothing if not about us, so I'm glad
fuck off.
I got to
If you
enjoy
didn't
that.
like it,
I'm glad
start
I got
your
to
own
share
podcast.
it. My dad came
Talk
over
about the
for
smashing
it.
pumpkins or whatever.
Talk about the smashing pumpkins. I'm glad my dad came over. I'm glad Casey came with me. My friend Fee came as well. We had a lovely night, and it was very special. And I'm super grateful that he even came to Christchurch. It's the first time I've ever not had to travel to see Radiohead or to see Thom Yorke. Like, how special.
Yeah, very special. I feel,
You know what would have been good?
Over the last few notes?
A rat's nest. Would have loved a rat's nest. That's all I'll say.
Fucking rats. Again. Enough.
That's because I'm a big fan. If you've enjoyed this kind of thing, then probably go find like a Radiohead podcast, because they're probably more up your alley than this sort of week to week. But if you didn't enjoy this, then go listen to another episode. There's plenty in the back catalogue there. This is episode 240, Michael. 240 episodes of this we've done. If you have some feedback for us, though, please get in contact. Either flick us a message on Instagram or Facebook. You can send us an email to deepfort@gmail.com. You can rate us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can donate a little bit of money to a cause of your choice, rather than yelling out your feelings to a performer at a concert.
Whoa. That's a political outro, Nick.
Oh, I'm getting sassy today.
I've been yelping in my sleep. Like yelping. I've got audio of this.
Okay.
I can provide.
Why? How?
So I think it's because I've had sleeping issues famously. I keep whinging about it on this medium. So my friend Dave Weber, I said this on the pod a few weeks ago, gave me these melatonin things. My sleeping issues have gone.
Yeah.
I am sleeping like a baby. Problem is, now Lauren can't sleep because I am going in my sleep.
You're yelping like a baby.
It's not even, well, not like a baby, like a man who yelps in his sleep like a cool guy. No, but I've been like, I record my sleep on the Sleep Cycle, as you know.
Yeah.
And I have been like properly just yelping, like it's not even just like groaning, it's like and nonstop through the night. And now Lauren can't sleep, and it's all Dave Weber's fault. But thank you, Dave. I am also running out. I haven't told you this, but I am running out, so I would like some more melatonin.
Can I get some clarity here? Is there a physical like jerk awake? Like, are you rousing, or is this your body is dead still like a corpse, and out of the deep dark soul you just yelp in place in situ and continue sleeping?
Yeah, so I've been researching this, and there looks
what
like
have you
there's
googled? Like night yelps?
It's literally exactly what I googled, and there's this thing apparently called cataphrenia. It sounds like more like a groan from the description, and apparently it's induced by sedatives or whatever, or anxiety or stress. But I honestly don't think it's that. It's caused also by malfunctioning neurons in the brain at the respiratory center.
Oh, and you just knew this offhand, yeah.
But I don't think it's that, because I think, I don't know, sound like listening back to it, it's like I'm in some sort of, like, it sounds like a night terror almost.
Yeah.
But I'm not having any, I don't have nightmares.
Remember any dreams? You're just like dead to the
No,
world.
I have great dreams. I've never
great
really
dreams.
had that. I've never really had that many nightmares, honestly. Been very blessed.
Oh. Blessed. Jesus has endowed you with peaceful sleep.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Do you have the sounds?
Yeah, do you want them?
Yeah, well,
I got one. I
want to know what it sounds like.
I've got it on hand, so don't worry. It won't be like a I'm trying to find it kind of thing.
Wow. What?
vaguely sexual, really.
That actually sounds fake.
I know, dude.
like,
That's not even
the kind of
that's
thing
not even the worst, but that's just the newest one.
Yeah, that just sounds like
No,
a
it sounds like
prank that you're
I'm
pulling
pretending. I know.
It sounds
When
like
I listen back to this, I'm like, what the fuck?
it sounds
wild.
That sounds like you are making a point to the person in the bed next to you, like you, like you're deliberately choosing to do this thing until they're like, "What?" Like
Yeah.
you start with like a "oh," and then you don't get a response, and so then you have to like escalate a little bit. Oh,
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
and then by the end you're fucking streeping it up, and
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Why?
Oh,
Why did this start?
I think the melatonin. That's what I suspect, because that's the only thing that's changed. I think I'm sleeping deeper now, so
Yeah, but where are you going?
probably back to my childhood. I would
Oh,
guess. Oh no!
oh, I'm not gonna lie. It does sound a bit like you're coming.
Well, then I must be at church, because
Terrible,
yeah,
terrible.
I
That's
didn't.
not gonna be. Maybe we just delete
That's
that
not
bit. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fade out.
Impression of the week.
Yeah. Do you have an outro there? No. Oh, is this still fuck? That's the worst.
I don't know.
Oh
if
boy.
that's,
Oh,
I don't know. We might need a little bit of a.
we don't need to end on a laugh. I don't know about this laughter thing that we need to end.
Let me
on.
see what my
Yeah.
sleep cycle records of me.
Now it's ramping up. Something for everyone this episode, isn't it?
Yeah, now we're really getting somewhere. I do get
Sleep
some
and Tom
snoring.
Yorke. That's the dog. That's the dog.
No, that's
that has
me.
to be the dog.
That's me.
That is. Wow.
It's not
Oh,
what you
that's-
expect, is it? It's not what you expect.
The second to last one was a bit interesting. Classic though, that one. This is good content. Just listening. We're listening to ourselves.
Fuck
sleep.
it! Fuck it! Confetti! Confetti! Fuck it! Fuck it! I'll do it. I'll do it 3 times in a row. Just watch me. I'll put confetti in. I'll put confetti in. I don't have an outro, Michael. I don't have an outro. I'm sorry.
Not paying you for this one.
I'm sorry.
Mister?
That'll be $10, but we have to have an outro.
Half price. All right, deep thought after midnight, baby.
Okay,
Overtime.
we never do this. This is possibly the first time we've ever jumped back on a pod. But I just felt like we had to briefly say, before our next episode,
We should talk more about Tom Yorke. Yeah.
So there was a track
Good
that he
idea.
played
Great
in the
idea.
second encore.
we've just got a bit more to say, and it's 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max.
30 max. No, but in between this record and the next episode, the US election's coming, and I just felt like we just had to put our cards on the table. We had to get like a prediction in. We had to just touch briefly on where we are, because I think next episode we're going to have some stuff to talk about. Michael, I want
This time next week, really,
yeah, but we won't be potting just yet.
Time of recording, yeah.
But Michael, I wanted to start with this, which is you have placed a bet.
Yeah.
Walk me through the logic, walk me through the anticipation, walk me through your expectations for next week.
Well, I did place a bet on Trump. My dad also. Me and my dad have put money on Trump. I put not that much money. I put $100 down. I got a bonus bet for the sports bet fans out there. So essentially, I put 125 on.
Oh.
I like to bet on things that aren't sports. I like to bet on the Oscars, and I like to bet on politics. And I don't like to bet on horse races or football matches or whatever.
Races.
This is. I find it.
I don't like to bet on horse races.
Sorry, the ponies.
The ponies. I don't like to bet on horse races.
That's not exciting to me. I like real world events and just make them a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, the things that really actually matter. That's where you like to put your money. Not on all this like dog and pony show.
I think my guess is that Trump is going to win.
Okay. And is that your actual guess, or are you picking that because the odds? What are the odds? Are the odds even?
No. So Nate Silver, you 538 guy,
Yeah.
you know him.
Yeah.
So I follow that. I follow. There's we've talked about this. Polls. Who the fuck knows? Polls are so fraught. People who answer polls are weird people already.
Yeah.
They skew it. Who can make any sense of any of this? So it's all kind of just a get. It's roulette, really.
Yeah.
Which makes it exciting.
And you put it all on orange.
It's kind of a feeling. It's also kind of like a way to, I do genuinely hope that Cam wins. But
I think you'll find it's come.
I come before. They don't know. The listeners don't know the messages.
But I don't want them to either.
Leave it in. $10 coming your way. I mean, it's kind of a way to be like, well, if Trump wins, that would suck for the world. But at least I won $75.
Yeah. But you must win. How much do you win? 125 in, and you get 75 back or 75 profit?
So me and my dad bought in at Trump was paying 157. So we get
57 back. Yeah. Gotcha.
But Cam's at 270 now. So
not to burst your bubble, but I believe there is a lot of not a lot of. There has been some in the past couple of years move away from Nate Silver's systems, and in fact I don't think he's actually at 538 anymore. I think he's left and he's doing his own thing or something now, but he
put it behind paywall.
But I think that's because he sold it. I think that's someone else's property now.
Okay.
Anyway, I think there's been some criticisms about his assessments or that sort of thing. I actually read, maybe it really is too close to call, but I read an article about how it's actually looking like a Kamala blowout, and that there's actually a lot of evidence that due to the way that the Senate races are performing and due to how infrequently people split tickets, as in vote for a Democrat in the House but a Republican, for the president, how unlikely that is, that all of the Senate races that they're polling are mismatched with the predictions for the national one. And anyway, if the Senate ones are hold true, which they should, then Kamala is most likely to win based on the not those things. So
can you send me the articles, because I stopped subscribing to the New Woke Times.
Oh, well done. We should actually have talked about the Washington Post thing as well. But anyway, the point being that I think it doesn't behoove any candidate to act like they are the front runner, because that just depresses voter turnout. If you think that it's a sure thing, then you're not going to turn up. If you think it's a close race, then people show, right? And that's what's most important. That's what locks you in. So even if the internal polling is showing that Kamala is doing really well, they won't say it. They need people to know that it's close.
But I mean, the other thing is that people kind of don't. Maybe it's less so now, but I guess 2016 changed the whole kind of the way that people looked at it, because people who are secretly voting for Trump or are ashamed to admit that they're voting for Trump, maybe not reflected in the polls. But then, Gen Z is another factor here, because now Gen Z are of voting age, and typically, historically, not a huge voter turnout in the US. But I don't know, maybe this generation is different.
Here's the thing. I saw articles about Gen Z is discovering the Access Hollywood tape for the first time. So 2016, these kids are 10, 11 years old. They're not, up in the news. They're not seeing this stuff. They're probably being shielded from it. And now on TikTok, it's all going viral because this, I grabbed them by the pussy, they let me do it kind of stuff is now a TikTok sensation. And it's like videos of people being like, oh my God, why are my parents voting for this guy? Like it's active news again in a generation that missed out on it. So again, it's hard to predict whether that kind of kills him subsequent, like 10 years later now, because a new generation comes up and it's like, who the fuck is this guy?
It is baffling. And honestly, I don't want to out my dad here, but like even my dad wouldn't say this explicitly, but even when I went to Adelaide a few months ago, I could tell that if this was happening here, it would be a Trump. It was so sympathetic to Trump thing without saying, without explicitly saying it.
Gosh.
And I'm trying to like work out, because it does seem very black and white to us, but here, I guess, in certain circles. But I mean, even seeing Trump, and I won't go into the Rogan stuff that much, but like even seeing Trump do this podcast circuit, and he's done all these, you know, he's done Rogan, he's done Theo Von, these probably are not guys that you know, Andrew Schultz, kind of this faction of LA comedy that it's all of these comics are kind of suckling at the tit of Daddy Rogues.
Yeah.
And he's kind of made the careers, and Tony Hinchcliffe, you probably maybe heard this story about him. He gave a speech at he opened
I
for
saw that
Trump
guy at the convention
with the Puerto Rico thing.
Yeah,
now this is a comedian,
Yeah.
right? And now it's this LA comedy faction that is clearly leaning right.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't include Rogan in that, but
Yeah, he's not funny.
but he's I just think he's more open-minded than the
that's
fucking
fair.
spawn
The
of him.
alt-right stuff, yeah.
But it is interesting to me that in this election, I mean, I think it's a genius move from the Trump camp to do the podcast, because he is sitting there for 3-4 hours for some of these things, and he is not saying anything of substance. But what he is doing is he's not getting a news, a journo question and answer rhythm. He's humanized, and I'm saying that objectively, because I did watch the whole Rogan thing, but it really what I was astounded by was how kind of like charming he was. And I know that sounds like, how could the fuck Trump be charming? He was. He wasn't charming in like a George Clooney way, but he was charming in a way like the first time ever I heard Trump ask someone else a question about their life.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, and it only takes 3 hours. No, I get
like,
your
who is he
point.
appealing to
It
with
seems-
these people? These are big votes. These
Yeah.
are big podcasts, these are big shows.
Oh, 100%.
These
Yeah.
are huge.
It's a great get for Rogan, even though Rogan did say he wouldn't get him on in the past. But it does.
Well, he wanted Kamala on.
Yeah,
He's still in talks with it.
yeah, he Kamala's campaign, I think, wanted him to fly to her because of where they were, and there was some scheduling stuff there.
She would. I don't think it'd be a good move for her, to be honest.
No, and she's been doing podcasts, but I don't think that it plays to that base very well.
No,
I don't.
She's just kind of playing to her own existing base, the base that's going to.
Well, I
Like
just
the
don't.
cult-
I don't know what she gains from a Joe Rogan audience, and I don't think she respects him enough necessarily.
You don't know what she gains?
As in, I don't know that the Joe Rogan audience is going to be so susceptible to her politicking.
Disagree with that.
You think it would? You think it would be a
I think
tactical
if she
move,
could,
like a good move?
if she could handle it, if she could actually do a 2-hour, 3-hour, and be, I'm not saying I think she is authentic, but if she could do if she could do it, she had the stamina for it. If she could, I don't know, answer questions about aliens and have a laugh about it, I think it would be a great move for her to do it, because it would humanize her to these kind of, I don't know, like he's got such a huge audience, but like tech bro-y kind of like I think people like that kind of audience would want to see her be just
Yeah,
like
I think
real.
you're right. I think you're
And
right.
That's what it did. That's what it did for Trump. Honestly, it's what it did. It seemed like a person rather than an entity or a building name.
Yeah. I think that's true of most podcasts just due to length, right? You get past the CNN like 2-minute soundbite and you actually get
Right.
a sentence and you get a story and you get some backstory and there's no time pressure and you get a sense of a person. That's the
Exactly.
benefit of it from a campaign's perspective. So
Exactly, and people have the appetite for that kind of shit now.
Yeah.
Podcasts are clearly maybe even overtaking mainstream media. People want that.
yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe if you just put her in front of that audience that only ever hears clips or, you know, the misquotes of Trump or the whatever, and you just get that sound, you know, that's that person, that actual human in front of the audience. Yeah, maybe you do convert some votes.
Because I really do think, but part of her strength is that she does come across to me as very authentic. You know, the laugh is kind of a thing that she's being slandered for on the right. I think it's one of her best qualities.
Oh,
like
100%.
just even superficially,
100%. She has a sense of humor.
She has an Obama level of like, oh, you're a real person. That's great.
Yeah.
She should lean into it.
Yeah. Did you see Tim Walls with AOC playing Crazy Taxi?
No, I didn't. I love him so much.
He tells
great.
he jumps on Twitch, right? He's playing Crazy Taxi on like I guess an emulator or something, an old version of Crazy Taxi with AOC. He's not bad at it. He's picking up passengers and like dropping them.
I don't know what Crazy Taxi is.
It's like an old Sega game. It doesn't really matter for the point of the story. It's like think like early 2000s, 1990s story. And AOC's like, how are you good at this game? Like, why are you playing this? And he said, oh, so back in the day, I wasn't allowed to have video games at the house. So what I did was I took it into the office and I would go in and I'd play Crazy Taxi in my lunch breaks or something like that at the office. Wow. And he's just like this 60-year-old guy just like sitting there on Twitch playing Crazy Taxi. And
yeah,
like
every little bit I see of Tim
human.
Waltz, I just love him more. I saw. Did you see the Daily Show interview? He was so he was not only affable and likable and fucking Tucker Carlson, like the Fox News is trying to paint him as like, oh, he's probably gay, like they're actually doing that kind of thing because he's not like this, like, because he's, I don't know,
super like alpha cliche kind of douchebag,
the lowest hanging fruit that you could imagine. But he was so affable. He comes across like a teacher, which is already a great quality.
Yeah,
and not only that, but when he needed to, took the conversation to a serious place and made a very succinct, excellent point, and was honest and raw and vulnerable. He admitted, I was really nervous before the debates. I don't think I'm a great debater. He was just like, I just love him a lot.
He's really endearing. I agree. It was a very great endearing tactical choice, I think, as well, in terms of a pairing with Kamala, offsetting and complementing her qualities in a way that's a strong ticket.
Yeah, no, well, I think they are, but I don't think they're going to win.
Well, for this epilogue, I am going to plant my flag, and I think it is going to be a win. I would even go so far as to think it might even be clear on the day. But here's my other prediction. I think it is going to be an absolute shit show because the past 4 years has been Trump and the MAGA base prepping themselves for any knowledge where if they don't win, it's a rigged election. And I sincerely think there is a better than 50% chance that there will be people at the Capitol again by the time we next record.
You almost want it to be a landslide either way because it's just going to be a recipe for civil unrest either way, otherwise, isn't it?
I mean, it's going to go to the courts. It's going to be debated. There's going to be, people are already burning ballots. There's all this kind of this shit already brewing. I hope it's a landslide, so at least can be pretty, the remaining parts of the Republican apparatus that still adhere to the rule of law could maybe try and tamp down on some of that. But I think it's going to be a shit show.
Look, if silver lining, even if Trump does get elected, that'll be the end of Trump.
Well,
as a political candidate after 2028.
Might be the end of America.
maybe. So you would bet money on Cummy?
I've never bet on anything in my entire life, but I'm not going to bet on Cummy. That's for sure. I do think she's going to win. I think she's going to win. Call me an optimist.
I hope she does. Should we do a live kind of like a Twitch style pod?
Next week? No, I can't. I'm away.
I'm busy too. Yeah.
Okay. But you know what will happen when there is a winner? They'll pop the
dinner.
Confetti. Hey!
Free confetti for everyone.
Free confetti. Thanks for coming back.
Camming back.
Okay, sorry, I mispronounced it.
Camming on your back. All right. There we go.
Oh, good. There we go. We finally got an out. Fourth time lucky.